Hello, everybody. We are live. I am going to close this window. Hi, how are you doing? I missed ya. Okay, I'm just gonna check that I am live on my phone. I am. Wonderful. I'm going to share this to my group. Very excited to share with you today. What is the difference between Arabic and Turkish Qanun and which one you should be buying? So, okay, it looks like all is good. Okay, so I'm keeping my eye here to see any comments. I'll respond to your comments after the live. So again, thank you so much for tuning in with me. This is one of the most frequently asked questions that I get over and over and over again. So I thought, come in here and I would answer it. So again, so many people ask me, Maya, which one should I buy, a Turkish or Arabic Qanun? And that is something very important that you should have some research on and knowledge upon before you take this commitment. Because Qanuns are not the most cheap instruments, and also just to save you time and energy. So there is no one size fits all, and it really depends on 5 factors. So first of all, I'm just going to check, see if you can see me. I think you can. Okay, fine. All good. Jolly good. Okay, so number one, the first thing that really will determine which Qanun you should get is what style of music that you wish to play, and more specifically, what maqam system that you wish to use. So the Arabic Qanun, which I have in front of me here, has 4 levers. Okay, 4 levers is something that has been basically it's a reflection of the tone theory by Abu Nasr al-Farabi in his famous book Al-Musiqa al-Kabir, the big musician. And if you don't know who al-Farabi is, he is the most important theoretician in the history of Arabic music. So basically, and I'm going to grab my board here so I can show you a tone. I'm going to share my screen so you can see. A tone is basically is divided into 4 quarters. So imagine a cake, okay, and it's going to be voila. Okay, it's going to be divided into 4 quarters. So see, this is do, and this is re, or C and D if you follow the American system. And a tone in Arabic music is divided into 4 quarters. So, and that is reflected by the Arabic Qanun. So if we are to look at the example of the cake, then it's 4 equal quarters. So look at my Qanun. My Qanun has 4 levers. So I have 4 levers for each note, okay? And that means that I'm following the exact formula that Abu Nasr have decided or have documented in his book. I'm trying to put myself in the corner. Come on, you can see my face. Hello. Okay, here we go. Okay, so you have 4 levers. So E half flat, flat, 3/4 flat, double flat. So you have 4 quarters of the tone. Okay. So if we are to look at a Turkish Qanun, unfortunately I do not own a Turkish Qanun, maybe in the future. So if we are to look at the example, a tone, so this is the same tone, do to re, or C to D, is divided into 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They're supposed to be equal, but and therefore you have 12 levers. Here you have 4 levers. Forgive my writing, I know. And this is 12 levers. So you have a lot more options within one tone. So if I had a Turkish Qanun here, I would have 2 clusters of levers. A cluster basically closer to the peg, and a cluster that's closer to the body of the instrument. And that enables the performer to play all of these fine microtonal komas. They call them komas. So here's the thing. If you want to play Turkish maqam on an Arabic Qanun, it doesn't work, because Turkish maqam, even though it's very closely related to Arabic maqam, is different. And I have spoken about that in my video, the most common mistakes that people usually fall into when they learn maqam. So if you cannot perform Turkish maqam on an Arabic Qanun. But the opposite is correct. You can play Arabic maqam on a Turkish Qanun. So that's why it's so important for you to know what style of music that you want to play. And if you're really fixated on performing these komas, the 9 fractions of the tone correctly, get a Turkish one, okay? For the Arabic Qanun, you get 4. So previously, people had 8 levers. But now if you go to the market, you get a 4-levered Qanun. All my life I played a 4-levered Qanun. I own an 8-lever Qanun that I never use. But if you go like now in 2021 to the market, you're gonna 99% of the time you're gonna get 4-levered Qanuns. Okay, so that is factor number 1. Okay, that should give you some clarity on which Qanun to go for. And also, I must mention that the levers are rounder. So the levers are like this. And they're very much more fluid. For Arabic Qanun, I have to put some effort to put levers up and down. So if you want to play chromatic, it's much more fluid and easier in Turkish Qanuns, just because the levers are much more fluid. It takes, hopefully I didn't, oh yeah, I loosened my string, never mind. It takes more effort, not so much effort, but I mean, if you compare it to a Turkish Qanun, that is like almost no energy needed, okay? So that's another thing. Number 2 is availability. And that's a big one, I know. So for Turkish Qanuns, you usually can get them online. So most people are used to shopping online, especially after the pandemic. And yeah, it's very much a streamlined process, like shopping for grocery or something. So that makes it easier to get the Qanun if you are in US and Europe for Turkish Qanuns. For Arabic Qanuns, it's not so much the case. You get very few shops that sell it online, but you usually need to get it by contacting the maker personally and making arrangements with him. And usually that is done by Facebook Messenger or WhatsApp. And many people go like, oh, I'm not sure if am I going to be conned or anything. And I'm like, no, it's just the way it is, okay? And so that's another factor that you should consider. And again, if you need a list of makers from both sides, the Arabic and the Turkish, then I have a guide that helps you with that. I'll include it in the comments. So that is factor number 2. Okay, that I mean, if you are like, say, if you're going on a trip to Egypt or to Tunisia, then get a Qanun from there, because otherwise you're gonna have to like talk to people online. Okay. Number 3 is the nature of sound. to me, this is one of the biggest ones. So Arabic Qanuns, because my lowest strings are made of metal, I have very clear bass. So if you look here, so I have metal string. You don't get this bass in Turkish Qanun simply because these are usually made of the same material as the rest of the strings, which is either gut or crystal or plastic. It depends on the quality of the Qanun. And the nature of sound is higher in frequency overall, you know. So if you really need a defined bass, then go for an Arabic Qanun. If you like a more higher pitch sound, higher frequency sound, then go for a Turkish Qanun. And again, you could just put Turkish Qanun on Google and you can hear what I say, and that is specifically noticeable in the lowest 2.5 octaves. So see, it's very, very clear, the bass. It's not so much so in Turkish Qanun. Okay, I personally love that I have the bass and the more higher frequency. You see, so it's not the same whenever you go. I think I have been talking without you hearing me all this time. Have you been hearing? Can you hear me, guys? Because if not, were you able to hear me? Were you able to hear me? Because my microphone, I just noticed that it wasn't on. Huh. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? We can hear you. Okay. Thank goodness. It's like technology hiccup. Okay. Thank you, Sebastian. I appreciate that. Okay. So that's that. So again, going back to the nature of sound, Turkish Qanun is more airy, more and Arabic Qanun has both. So it really depends on what quality of sound that you wish to have. Okay, so factor number 4 is size. To somebody who has backache, this might be a problem because and might be a factor because Turkish Qanuns are much smaller, they're much more compact, and they are much lighter than Arabic Qanuns. So what I do personally is that I have been using a stand for. I used to love. I mean, on stage, I love having the vibration of the Qanun unified with my body, but like if I am say writing all day, my back will hurt. So I have a stand for my Qanun to relieve the weight from my back. So that's another factor. So if you're into travel and stuff, Turkish Qanun will be better. Arabic Qanuns are usually much more bulky and heavier. Okay, but you can obviously, if that's what you want, then you can just go around it. But again, you need to be informed. And factor number 5 is maintenance, because maintenance is super important. You need to know that you can access pegs if you break pegs, if you break strings, if you lose your plectrums. In this regard, both of them are equal. So you can easily get plectrums for either the Arabic Qanuns or the Turkish Qanun. And you can get strings for both easily online on Amazon and so on. And the most important thing is that if you damage the actual body of the instrument, then you have to do two things. You either send it to Turkey if you bought it from Turkey, or you go to your local luthier and the instrument hospital. And yeah, so usually they should be able to repair it for you. Like in rare occasions, like I had a student who her the bridge of her instrument got broken. So yeah, so we sort of got some guidance from the person who made the instrument, or a maker, So so yeah, if you break the actual body of the instrument, if you break this part of the instrument, the white part, which is made of fish skin, then you just sort of need to ask for the intervention of a professional, and that is regardless. So this part, and that is regardless if you have a Turkish or an Arabic Qanun. So that's it, guys. I hope that's helpful. Which one? Both are beautiful. Both are gorgeous. It really depends on what you want to do with it and what your priorities are. And my job here is just to give you a more equanimous view of this matter, hoping that it will help. So again, so it really depends on 5 factors: what style you want to play. If you want to play the Turkish maqam and playing all the fractions of the tone correctly, then Turkish Qanun. If you want to play Arabic maqam and Turkish maqam, you can get a Turkish Qanun, because you can't play Turkish maqam on Arabic Qanun because we don't have enough levers for that. Then, and the levers are rounder, much more easier to navigate for chromatic techniques. Number 2 is availability. So Turkish Qanun is more streamlined. It's easy to get online. For Arabic Qanun, you sometimes get some Arabic Qanuns online, but for 90% of the time, you have to actually call the guy on WhatsApp or Messenger or phone to make arrangements. So number 3 is nature of sound. Turkish Qanun is more airy overall because it doesn't have that clear bass. Arabic Qanun has both, and it's much more bassier in the bass and has a warmer sound in the lower registers. 4 is size. Arabic Qanuns are usually bulky and big and heavy. Obviously, this wasn't done for my Qanun, this particular one, because I told I asked my maker to chop every extra bit of wood. So back problems, get a stand, get a Turkish Qanun. Okay. Number 5 is maintenance. So again, I've mentioned that, like, for all of the things that you need for a Qanun, like plectrums, tuning keys, cases, strings, this is all available online. And then if you really have to send it to Turkey, it would be much easier, definitely, than sending it to, say, Egypt or Tunisia. So, or you have to access your local luthier and ask for the help of the person who made it. I hope that's helpful. And I hope that gave you some clarity as to what Qanun to use. Sending you lots of love, and I'll see you soon.